Okay.
Test.
Check.
Yeah, ready, sir. Ready.
Okay. So we have seen, till now, the Sunbird portal web application, the form configuration, the portal backend, how the API, is carry forwarded from the front end to the back end, and how we are proxying it to the upstreams, right? So other, the major stakeholder is desktop app. Okay. Now we'll see how, we use the desktop app and how the code is structured, a code walkthrough, and how do we run it, and how do we debug if there is any issue with the desktop app, right? So we have seen the Sunbird portal, built on top of ASUS Angular.
I just want to ask one question. Why do we need desktop? We have web portal, we have mobile, mobile. Why do we need desktop app?
Offline consumption. It's an offline desktop application.
So I'll use the mobile also offline.
Basically, the internet is also not there, and we don't have any.
We have apps, right? Sunbird mobile app is there, but why desktop app?
For schools,
Okay.
institutes.
Okay, you're close to the answer.
For schools or institutes who doesn't have internet, like in remote locations, for them.
Yeah.
I think it has also downloadable content.
Mobile also has them. Because okay, when we say one of the friends told us that there is downloadable contents available. That is available as e-cars. It is available with the mobile also. When Swanjit takes the mobile application details, he'll explain about e-cars and all. So yeah. Anything else?
Yeah. So we have seen the portal, Sunbird portal, built on top of using Angular. And desktop is running on the Electron JS, which is used to develop the desktop apps, right? So currently the build is supported for Windows machine and the Linux machine. Okay. So once we develop and push and for deploy, the final exe, that is for Windows it's an exe, and for Linux it is DEB, Debian file. These two URLs will be provided by the DevOps. The reason behind, so once in locally if you run, you will be able to see the application up and running in your local machine. But in case of actual builds, okay, which is happening in the Jenkins server on some cloud, okay, so it will be generated and it will be pushed to the blob storage. Okay, the downloadable URL will be provided by the DevOps. Okay. So in the Jenkins file, they will have the logs, and once build is success, they will copy and give it to the as if we require it for us, and or else it will be hosted on the site, right? So this is on how it the lifespan when we develop and when we go for deployment. Now we'll see there is a README file. Okay, I'll take you through from the project. So once we land on the portal repository, as Sharad was talking on the day one session, that we have an app and we have a web app, desktop app, and the portal backend under the same directory, I mean the same repository, right? So adding to that, now if we go and see the SRC folder, we have two folders, which is app and the desktop. So till now we have been going into app and we have seen the client and all the backend scripts which is responsible for proxying it. Now we'll deep dive into desktop. So when you go into desktop folder, you have a README file. It says the prerequisites for running your desktop application in locally, and how do you install the required dependencies, and right. So there is also a note or mention that in case of local development, dev config can be used. So please don't check in or commit and push the dev config to the Git, because you will be exposing your private values and you need to start rotating your keys. So that is something additional we intentionally put because we have enabled a feature where in the local instead of modifying the template, that environment variable helper file which we saw yesterday, in local if you are keep modifying it by accidentally, if you push check in that, then it's gone, you are exposed. So what we have done based on some environment value, we will be using the dev config. devconfig.js file. Is it? Okay, devconfig.js file, C capital. So this is added in git ignore, no matter what you keep on adding it. If the environment variable is local, then the application will pick all the variables from here, not from the environment variable helper file. So you got, this is, we have made development ease because and we are avoiding any accident push to the git, right? So that's an additional note with the dev config. How it is loaded and what is the logic behind, you can check the environment variable helper file, and at the bottom we have 10 lines of snippet which explains like when the application should load the dev config. The same concept is for desktop application also. So how do we run desktop locally? So to run the desktop application, there are two major parts. Okay, it is designed in such a way that whatever the front end, the web portal, the dist folder is generated, right? So that dist contains all the front end, the pages, what we are seeing in the portal like landing page, digital textbook. All the pages will be in dist folder. So we are reusing the same dist folder for the desktop app, okay? And then just we are the request whatever HTTP call, we are proxying directly to the URL which is configured in the environment variable. It will be not coming to the portal backend. Hope we are clear?
Coming from portal backend?
No, it's not a portal backend. It will not be going to portal backend. Okay, I'll reiterate. Because this is slightly, we are taking deviation from the architecture what we saw from the portal and the portal backend. Okay, now take a step back. We have a portal. Now we have a desktop application. There's a dist folder generated, the Angular prod build, dist folder. Now we are taking this dist folder and we are feeding it to the Electron, okay? And a high level, we are feeding it to Electron. Boss say, take this index.html and run it to me. I'll make a code walkthrough so that we can connect the dots. On a high level, we are using the same dist folder for the Electron. Use this folder, take the index.html, run it. Simple. Okay. Any doubts with this? High level architecture.
So I'm just trying to understand
Yes.
how exactly you have managed to
Rajiv,
have 4 applications have the same code base
Mhm.
and sync it together.
Yeah.
So I'm just assuming that. Yeah. So basically.
Yes.
So my question is, how exactly have you managed to have 4 different applications run the same code base? And
No, one application, 4 different platforms.
Sorry. Yeah. Maybe I said it.
I know that, sorry, because that conveys a wrong message because it's again being yeah, fine.
Since we are having, are all four platforms running web code only somehow and then showing it in the respective platform, or how is that happening?
No. See, the thing is, web and desktop, Angular code is same. But once it is built, it is just a JS file.
Okay.
Angular is what is Angular? Once you compile it, it all becomes JavaScript. Okay. So Electron.js is going to be used to inject the JavaScript for the UI.
And then show the UI. Okay.
And show the UI.
Okay.
In web, it is again it is dist. It is a main.js file and
I'll walk through. I'll walk through.
Yeah, polyfill. I'll just answer that question.
Yeah.
So polyfill.js file, which will be again pushed from the your server only. Okay. It is again JS file going into the UI. These two are only these two are the one repo, but mobile has its own repo. There is a code duplication there. Mobile is not using web. In certain cases like login, where they don't want to write that login again, they are using the web view of it.
Okay.
I think she has explained it.
To add partially.
Some features which are still using web views, like login. I think only one password change.
Partially to that, mobile is also flavoring whatever the web portal is using, like common consumption, the cards, the UI, the styles.
Those things we are not rewriting. It is only once which is written, all four are using.
If you stand at the root level and see, if you look at the 4 platforms, okay, they have all common things such as like styles, layouts, cards, some of the CSL, what we spoke yesterday, cloud services, SDK, all these things are there. So the things is like we are arranging according to the platform requirement. For example, a mobile application, they need some structure. They're using this library and they're just arranging according to the conventions as per the tech stack. For portal, yes, we also do use the same package. We are using Angular. We are importing in Angular format, and then they're constructing it.
Okay. But then when you say that ultimately the desktop application is running the JS code, does that mean that it is kind of running it as a browser?
No. It is Electron.js. It is a Electron.js application actually. It's an application.
Which can run the JS and show the JS.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think all the Slack and all this platform they use Electron.
Yeah, Slack is one of the best example which is using Electron.js.
Okay.
So Electron, as far my understanding is like that's a platform which enables you to build a desktop application. Okay. So either JavaScript.
Okay. Now that
So as a tech, it provides a platform for you to develop a desktop application. Now, whether you want to write a native code or you want to embed an index.html or you want to import iframe, that's up to the design and the requirements. Yeah. So yeah, continuing with that. So we need the client, under the client, the web portal, we need to run npm run start desktop, which creates a dist folder. Okay. Why? Because we are not using ng build. Why we are running npm run start desktop? We'll look at the entire expansion of this command. So when you run this npm run start desktop, it creates a dist folder and it copies that dist folder to a respective target source path. So the reason we will walk through that. Okay, this is I'm giving just glimpse how architectured and how we are loading it and how we are running it. Okay. So once that is done, once this process is completed, okay, before that you can't run because Electron is a dump that it don't know because it doesn't have a dist folder of portal to run. It's empty. So once this is done, you have a dist folder and Electron knows that there's a dist folder and there's a file. npm run start will start picking up the files and it boots up the application. Okay. Any questions up to this far? Yeah.
So when we are opening this client, so structure is little bit angular, like component and all. But when we open this desktop, so it has some like backend helper. So like it is also using the same Angular which we have in portal.
Yeah, I'll come back. We have not started with the code walkthrough. I will answer your question in the next upcoming minutes. Okay. I think you are one step ahead. Okay. So till now what we have seen is like how what is Electron. I mean how it is architectured, how we have to run the desktop app, installing all the requisites and this thing. Okay. So before we jump into the code walkthrough, there is something installing dependency. We are seeing some package tags file, right? So have anyone aware of like what is OpenWrap? No. Yes. No.
Instead of fetching data from the internet in OpenWrap, you can put the resources, the desktop can get the resources.
Absolutely. I assume that we have a sophisticated network in all the places of our country. That's good case. Assuming that there is a remote area and you want to have some knowledge sharing or you want to have a content to be taught to a particular geographical area where there is no network, right? Desktop has a feature of downloading and offline capability. Now OpenWrap enables us to load the content, load your contents, whatever the required contents you have to load it, and then it acts as an offline serving capability. So when you connect to OpenWrap with your desktop, right, it serves your contents without any internet. So let's say in this room we have, and the OpenWrap is running now, and we have hundreds of content, and all of us is searching for a content. Okay, I mean assuming that we have a subject or scoped contents, like not a vast random, not 100. We have a content for like let's say social, and all we are searching for a contents in the social. It starts providing us the results. That is the beauty of OpenWrap that we are enabled in the desktop application.
And one more thing is you can see the thing is when he said remote, let's assume you don't have internet at all. What you will do? You will take the e-cars in the pen drive, go and once in a week or once in a month, go and put the pen drive to the desktops, sync it, And again, one more thing is telemetries. You have to get it back, right? Let's assume what they did. So you can get back the telemetries, or once in a while you can have an internet for one machine, connect it, sync the telemetry, download all the contents as an e-car, take it in the pen drive and connect with all the machines and put it back. That is also possible. Okay, so we have to think of it. Not only we have our laptops, we have our internet, we are happy with it. But there are places like, I think he is one of the best example, Assam. If we go to Meghalaya and all, where you don't get that much network because they are in remote places. So this is where it will be better actually.
Inclusivity.
Yeah.
OpenWrap here acts as a dongle. Okay, like consider is a mapping kind of a dongle kind of thing. Okay, so where OpenWrap is available, multiple desktops are connected to OpenWrap. What are they? The OpenWrap you can access to all the desktops without internet.
It is like a movable cloud.
Okay, it's like that kind of thing.
If you open
Without
the
internet,
OpenWrap,
okay.
Site itself, they will show you it works as a router, it works as storage itself, and it works as so many things.
And that's how all the desktops connected to OpenWrap. Okay, now any content there, any desktop can download. Okay, even without internet also. Okay, they can download from there, and then they can start playing in the desktops. Now, when there is internet, all the telemetry also goes to OpenWrap. When there is a connectivity, OpenWrap will know how to sync to server. Okay, that's what OpenWrap will take care of, syncing to server. Okay, so getting all the logs from all the files and storing and then syncing to server, that's what OpenWrap will take care.
So down the line, that what we are discussing from 2.5 days, when we talk about telemetry, we ensure that it is not dropped anywhere. Either it is online or offline. We have to store it, and whenever we have the connectivity, we have to start pushing to the upstreams. Telemetry is the key data. Otherwise, we don't understand what the user is doing in our application and what is the pitfalls that user is facing in our application. That's key area which we focus on, right? So that's the OpenWrap. So debugging, yeah. Once we'll start, start your application, we'll show it that. Okay. So what I've done is I have started the npm run start desktop in the portal because it takes a lot of time. So I've just that command I have run, and the build folder, the gist folder is generated. Okay. The client I have done. Now with the desktop, okay. So now I am at okay. It's good enough. Okay. Right now I am at SRC desktop. Okay. SRC desktop. Okay. I'm pointing to release 6.0. Doesn't make a difference because we don't have any major changes in that. We are just having the Angular changes. Okay. SRC desktop. Okay. As we mentioned, I have the dist folder generated by the client. Now I am running the npm run start.
When it runs, just show the package.json. What is the dist command that you, and what is npm run desktop?
I have a plan, so I'll navigate through them, the expansion of the command. Okay, that pop-up will not be coming in the Debian because Mac has restrictions. Whenever an application is trying to access a folder, it will just show whether to allow or not. So that pop-up is nothing to flag as a bug or something. Okay, so now this is the application which is running. Now we'll see how the page is getting loaded, because I told like we have a dist folder from portal and we are running the command here, how the electron is picking. We'll go step by step and understand the build process.
And before that, can you just go back to the UI that electron loaded? Can you see that my downloads?
No, Rajiv, we'll first let them understand the build process, then we'll come loading offline everything. Now we have run. Now how we have running that we have just onboarding them. Okay, so the first step, what was mentioned in the documentation is, it's good. Okay, so npm run start desktop. Okay, there's also prod desktop, similar kind of command, but it takes a prod configuration, and here we are taking a dev or staging configuration, because prod we don't have the keys, right? So when I run npm run start desktop, it sets the max space for node in case of, because local there are scenarios where we are running out of heap memories and the build process gets abrupted. So we just that's a temporary command which says that for node max space is 8000, that is MB, not okay, 8000 MB. So with the CLI ng build, okay, that's a common command to build the application, and here we are doing an output path saying that was once you generate the dist folder, put the output, generate the dist folder in this particular path. That is desktop, that is src desktop, under that public, under that portal. Yeah. Now your dist folder will not be in your Angular project. Please make sure that, and don't we cannot try to look into an Angular project, because already we are passing arguments, command line arguments saying that output should be generated in your desktop, public, portal. That's a folder, right? We'll look how it is, right? And -fn watch is equal to true, configuration is equal to desktop -staging. Okay, so it's a environment which will be present, but I can't project it now. Okay, so and once that is done, and we are again moving okay the contents to desktop, public, portal, index.html. Okay. Yes, index.html is there. Okay, so this is on the first step. I've generated the dist folder. Right now, before we run on the electron command, we'll see how the electron understand that I need to take up this file. Okay, that we need to brush up the basics of electron. Otherwise, we don't understand like how we are loading it, because we know pretty straightforward in Angular it will just generate the dist and will load the index.html. How it is electron behaving with that similar feature, right? So in the package.json of okay src desktop package.json, okay, and when I run npm run start, there's a command node environment is equal to electron development. Okay, electron and it says that run the main.ts file. Okay, now where is this ts file? So it is nothing but an entry point file for an electron. So yesterday we saw index.html, which is an entry point for Angular, a server.js file, which is entry point file for node portal backend, right? So here it is a main.ts file. Okay, so this defines like what needs to be loaded, what all the things needs to be bootstrapped. When you are before you start an application, you might have to load a different variables. You need to initialize some of the packages. Okay, loggers. If you see the standard loggers, so everything happens because this is an entry point file. Okay, I'll now move on with that. So okay, as I said, if there's a dev config available. Okay, if the environment is local, use the custom config. Otherwise, it will be using the env.json, which is a template file. Okay, env.json is available in the GitHub, but you can't see the dev config. So this is a snippet where it takes up the responsibility, right? Now, yeah, there is something called splash.load file. Okay, right, load file. And it is the path for the index.html. Where is this index.html? This is generated by the dist folder of the client. Now we'll look at like where it is. Public, portal. Oh, sorry. As we have seen, it will be generated under desktop. Actually, we are at the desktop level. Because it is hidden on desktop, public, portal. Okay, if you look at the structure on the files which is generated, it's nothing but the dist folder of the portal, which I was referring in the first step, right? It's all the font files, image files, minified.js and everything. Everything you can find it here, and you will find index.js, which was there in the command. Also. Yeah. If you see polyfill.js and runtime.js, you will understand that it's generated by the Angular. Right? From here, the Electron loads the file and start building, loading the application. Are we clear with the how we are starting the desktop application? Any questions with this? Open to questions. You good? Okay. Okay. So we started application and we are seeing similar kind of UI for the portal, but there is a small difference, like this was not available in the web, and this was not available in the web. This was not available in the web. Right? Yesterday when we were talking about the portal, and if I hover on the content cards, you see that a save to pen drive and there's a open, because in the portal we were directly clicking on the content, we were able to play that, but here we have a differentiation. How the same code base of portal, but it's having a different behavior here. Anyone had looked up on this reverse engineering?
We are using a different card here.
No.
No, I think some options
No?
for passing for offline, so it will.
No, we are online because you are connected to internet. It says that you are online. Offline, we'll talk about it later. That's a different deviation on this topic.
So it's like it's portal UI only, na? It's showing here.
Yeah, portal UI. It's the same card, same common consumption, but it's the same dist folder from the Angular, but it's behaving differently. The first step, when we did the Angular build, I mentioned that desktop staging configuration.
Yes.
Okay.
The configuration will be setting the.
Yes. So if you look up, it says that is desktop app. This is the variable which will be carried along the lifeline of your, the journey when you start your application of the desktop. This variable is solely dependent for switching the UI. Perfect. Now I'll show you this how this variable acts. I've taken one example. There's the explore page. Okay, if you see there's an explore page.component.ts file. I mean, you can go to any other page, but I've taken the landing page so that it will be easy for the explanation. So explore page. Now we see all different set of elements getting popped up for the same explore page of portal. Okay. So in the explore page, if you go to the top and if you see the variables, you would see there's a desktop, is desktop app, something which is declared, yeah, is desktop app. So right, there's a variable, right? Forget about that configuration. This is a component and we have a is desktop app is equal to false. By default it is false. Variable itself by declaration is false, but on ng on init, the variable which we declared is equal to the util service dot is desktop app. Now what that util service is desktop app does is, okay,
Taking value from there and setting it up here.
no, from util service is reading the variable value from where?
The environment.
Yes, exactly.
In the environment.
So it is nothing but environment is desktop app, which we saw in the desktop.staging.ts file. Perfect. Same dist folder with one flag as additional parameters in the configuration during the build process. Now the Angular behaves totally into a desktop view.
If he makes it false right now, after that, and rebuilds it and runs it, it will be portal again.
It will be portal only. You will be seeing the portal code in the desktop app, and then no point of offline feature will not be available. Okay, generally we don't do. I mean, if you do it, the behavior comes up like that. Now, how this variable is helping? You can ask like, okay, if I have this variable in the util service, how the UI is getting different? Go to HTML page. Okay, search for the variable. If you see, there are around 4 places this variable is used. Matlab 4 different sections we are actually toggling between. If it is a desktop, use this. If it is not a desktop, use this. And we are not rewriting the code. If we have a closer depth look and understanding, If it is desktop app, we will be calling the cards, but with a different configuration. Okay, here SB library cards grid. Okay, layout configuration and layout configuration. What we will be passing with an additional parameter, saying that this is a desktop app. Now, the common consumption. This resides in a common consumption. That common consumption will understand. Okay, the payload is coming for the cards, but I have to render it in a desktop view. Now, what it will do? Yes, I will render the card, but if you have a closer look at common consumption, each is a different, each is a different component clubbed together. Okay, when you check the code, if in the loop this will be coming from a different component. All will be constructed and give it as a card to the end user. Okay, if you want more detail, you can check the common consumption SB. What is that? SB library cards grid. So that will give you a better picture. Okay. Now it will understand, and we are saying that we have for the desktop we have to render this thing. It will enable this on hover. This buttons will be enabled. Okay. The functionality will be handled at your TS file on clicking on that. What I need to do, what I should not do. So if this is not a desktop, not of desktop, render this. If it is a desktop, render this. If you see, the common factor between the code sharing is the SB library cards grid. You see here the same. Am I good? Or yeah. If you see this and this, or both are same, but the only condition is not off. In the layout configuration, you will be passing a different set of additional params. Right? Why I am stretching more on this is the build is same with the only one flag. You are actually switching your entire application into a desktop mode. Okay. Any questions till this? You good? Okay. So now, as we were talking about, my downloads and OpenWrap, which supports offline. Okay. Let's see how how that works. Okay. So when I click on this open content, okay, it actually starts playing the content. Okay, that's we have seen in the web portal. Now we'll see actual behavior of downloads and everything, right? So now, okay. Yeah, it's on. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
So when you're offline, you see only the content which is downloaded.
Okay. So let's say I have a book of 4.8 head officials book. Okay, I am trying to download.
There you have saved the pen drive.
Okay. I am downloading the content now. Okay. 4.8 head officials. Okay. You see that I think the projector is cropped. I mean the display is cropped. Sorry, not the projector. I'm trying, sir. Okay. I mean, it says that this file, there is a completed. You can see this grayed out. Okay. So the file is downloaded. Content manager. Now, I will. Yeah, I can go offline. Yeah. If I go offline, okay. If I say offline, see the behavior. You're offline.
On your tabs are answers my question.
Okay. None of the tabs will be. None of the tabs will be accessible. You will be in the My Downloads page. Sorry, My Download section, and whatever the contents you have downloaded and which will be available in your machine, it's available for consumption for online. Sorry, offline.
The thing is, it showed you at the top also, you are offline. When you come to online, it will again say you are online. Okay.
Now that I'll go. Next step we will see. So now, if I go and open any content which we recently downloaded, 4.8 officials, it will play because the content is downloaded and it's available for offline consumption. Right? So the player does not know all this thing. It's just if you have a content, I'll read. Right?
So I mean,
Yeah.
Whatever kind of links which are there on that page, which require internet access. Okay. So in the offline mode, how exactly does that? I mean, who's it calling? Where is the API going? And what kind of?
Where is the API? It has downloaded all as an e-car. Okay, when he explains about the mobile getting e-cars and all, right? Maybe at that time we can explain. When you have a whole content, let's say if you have a collection, it is completely merged into one thing called as e-car, and it will be downloaded. The complete e-car is downloaded. I think you saw it as a, if you open that content manager, right? Content manager? Yeah. It says 277.61 KB. If it is video or let's say something else, it may download 5 GB of data. Okay. And everything will be available in your local system itself as a record.
But then basically, I mean, even on the online mode, is it that the player has everything running through JS only? There is nothing online happening.
No, if in online mode, if it is a streaming URL, let's assume if your file size is too big, it will always be streaming.
Correct.
But
His question is, from where it's getting the data? Okay. See, now online case, it's always calls the API. API will give the data. Now you are not online.
it will download the entire data.
Okay. Now instead of the question is like, let's see others. Okay, who he explained it. I think maybe he explained.
The next question, I mean, next step was to explain like how the content is downloaded, how it is, the package is bursting and we are playing it. I'll put an example.
Question maybe we'll park it for some time. Okay. We will explain that.
No, this was the next, because we downloaded and we went to offline and we are able to play. Now how it is getting played? No, I just opened a PDF how, without internet connection, how are we playing? Let's say, for now we can park it aside the JSON structure of content and everything. We'll talk about I downloaded a content, right? So I downloaded a content and it has, let's say, what is the content name? Yeah, 4.8, content, right? Now, this has, okay, a PDF, which we saw. Assume that we have a video, right? Another, H5. So we have this. So when we talk about like content and the JSON read, what we're doing, so PDF, it will be like a blob storage, right? What we were discussing yesterday, it will be there in NTP prod or the Azure blob storage / the path, whatever the do ID it is there, / do ID, and it's like .pdf, right? Similar way, this also is a blob storage URL, and this also is a blob storage URL. Forgive me that I'm just going around. Like for video, it is MP4, and for PDF. For H5P is H5P content. All these extensions are it's a blob URL, right? Now in the desktop app, when we click on download, yes, it downloads the content details. Now each blob storage, whatever is there, it will be downloaded along with the content. Now when I click that, 277 KB consists of PDF. Assume that it's a 5 MB. It's not there. Okay. So assume that it has a PDF video on this H5P content. It will go for this, download this file. It will go this, it'll download, and put it under the do ID of that book. Local. Okay. Okay. Not OpenWrap. This device local machine. OpenWrap is done and dusted, not in the picture. This is my machine. I have my running. I am going a remote area and it is offline. I have downloaded. Now where is the download? It's residing in your local machine. Okay. So when I download, click on this book. Now it internally what it does is it goes to each of the content, goes to the blob storage, it downloads. Now we are having a clear picture when I click on download how the contents are getting.
I understand, obviously, we are having all of the content here. My question was, when you click on that player, for example, so on that particular player UI, don't we have any button or any link that actually sends a server request? Is everything happening
right now,
locally?
even the telemetries are generated and kept it in your machine only.
Through JS?
It is kept
No.
in your machine.
Don't bring up the telemetry. Now you are asking like player is not calling an external URL. That's the question, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When you have the content downloaded itself, why should I make a call?
No, not just the player. Not just the player. Anything on that page, which is showing that UI.
No.
Isn't there any link or any button
No.
that requires a server-side access?
No.
Nothing is there.
If you are trying to access, then you should show an exception, right? Because
I
We are not doing a call
I
actually.
understood what is your question. Let's assume your question may be like, if I want, if there is a course, or which has to be having a progress, which has to be keep on capturing, so that my certificate has to come to me within one hour. Let's assume. In that case, how desktop works? It may not.
Yeah.
It may not. Only when you are online, it may sync and get you the certificate. But in the offline, you would have completed. Only when you sync it, you will get it.
Okay. So anything that is online requirement, it won't work.
It won't work.
See, it is straightforward when we are offline. No network call, no HTTP
That's
call,
why
no
all
post
the-
call,
all the
nothing.
Tabs that are online only.
Exactly, that's
is-
what
It was grayed out
Absolutely, yeah.
because you will not be able to access. And that also that is desktop app and is online, that conditions are written on that, so you can have a look at it. So this is how the data, is exploded when you click on download and is getting played. Yeah, this part is clear, right? Yeah, go ahead, sir.
So you mentioned the links are disabled for the tabs which like goes to online, do an online request. All the tabs are disabled. But if I see the filters like board, medium, class, you have mentioned previously like the select operation that I do to get to the next step from board. Let's say I select a board, and after selecting the board, I'll get a list of mediums for that particular board. So normally it comes from the form API, right?
Yeah.
Comes from the framework API.
Framework API. Yeah.
But right now, if you see, the data is enabled only for my downloads. Means my download will have the data, like let's assume, for the my downloads, each of the hierarchy that you have, the content hierarchies will have board, medium, grade, subject.
Right.
Only that will be there in your filters. It will not have all the things.
Okay, it will take it from the download.
Exactly,
section.
only that,
Not
not
take it
from the entire things.
Okay, that was
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so now we are having another option called load content. Okay, so which Rajiv was mentioning, like I can load the contents from the pen drive. If I have downloaded from other machine, or if someone is sharing me a content, I can just plug in and load the data to my application, which will obviously will be a similar structure. It will not be do ID, it will be complete do ID, and the package is bursted and all the files are downloaded. Yep.
Did you guys plan to do this desktop thing from day one? Because then if you had that vision, then only you could probably design
See, the
it
thing
in that
is,
way.
the
right?
design is in a way that you can add it.
Exactly.
Desktop did not start from day one of Sunbird.
Hmm.
Desktop came in picture when there was a request ki we want offline also. Because we thought of offline first. For yesterday, day one when Matthew talked about, he talked about
want to
offline
have?
first was the thinking that we did first.
Hmm.
So we had that vision of offline first, not for desktop, but for mobile we started with. But when the requirement came for desktop, we said already we have all these things. We will create it for desktop also.
Right. The offline view.
Offline first was the
It was
view.
the vision.
Exactly.
Okay.
So especially the concept of desktop came. Okay, initially there was Xtep was planning only for offline first use case. There is no web. We are not targeting at all. Web is not a first initial use case.
I'm
We are
sorry,
only-
I'm not part of that
okay.
initial phase.
Before he
so
joined.
they are the
okay.
right persons to put some spotlight on that.
Swajit is a key person, okay, where we are focusing only on the especially Android mobile app because outreach is more. We are not even looking for iOS that time. No iOS. We clearly take a call, no iOS app, only Android app, so that it's very easily accessible more for most of the base level people also can, yeah, okay.
If you go with the Indians,
And even with the app also so many challenges. They are saying no internet connectivity. So how can rural people? I don't have internet connectivity. They are very big size of contents. Okay, I can't download that much because 2017 and all. Even the network, the data size also, data pack charges also very high. Before Geo coming in, Geo also was not there that time. The data pack cost is very high. Okay, they are not even affordable. Okay, that thing. That's what we thought of side loading in the mobile app. Okay, where somebody can share the content with others instead of downloading it. That's we call it as side loading from one app to another app through Bluetooth kind of thing. Okay,
even that load content is also one of the side loads.
side loading kind of thing. That's the concept initially what we had. When we go to the schools, okay, when this went to the programs, initially there was no Diksha that time. when we went to reach NGOs, and NGOs was going as a pilot state with the multiple schools and all, the schools doesn't have even internet connectivity first of all. That's a different problem. Okay, most of the schools, they have only desktops without internet. They don't have app because app is a teacher cannot share the app with all the students.
Yes. And
A mobile app cannot share.
Device, again they said, okay, mobile is also his personal mobile. A teacher will have it. If you take one tablet, let's say tablet cost is again too high. Tablet in our tablets, our application used to work. The problem is buying a tablet, sharing with all the students. Is it going to be effective? The answer was no. Then we said, then they said, can we put it into the desktop so that we have a laboratory?
No, that's not the use case. Okay, I'll tell you how it's been evaluated. Okay, so NGOs when they go to schools and all, they usually share the mobile apps, and 5 people like this. Okay, the group of people sitting together and working on the same mobile app. That's how the programs was NGOs was conducted. Now the schools having a lot of desktop, which is waste of use. It's always mobile app to be used in the schools also. But practically that will not work out in the classrooms. Actually, this is a pilot state, right? When you go to actual classrooms, will the mobile apps work? No. Then they thought of using desktops. What are they in the schools? How can they use this desktop for the teaching now? Okay, the only option what we had to the similar kind of how mobile app is working offline use case, how can we use the desktops also for offline? Okay, the schools to make it use of their labs, the computer labs. So the schools having small labs, okay, usually like 3 to 4 desktops only, probably. How can you use those desktop to learn this Diksha? Okay, no, there was no Diksha that time. Okay, this app, Sunbird app can be how can they install the desktops? That time the offline desktop concept came. Desktop application, whatever the portal we have, how can we convert that portal into desktop app so that this application can be installed into the school desktop visions. Otherwise, there is no concept of, because there is no desktops in our homes at all, right? We are always good with the mobile apps. Why we should need a desktop apps? Okay, because especially schools, they can't offer the new tech of mobile and go into online always. No, that's not possible. Because of desktops to use, because the schools itself not using desktop much that time. Okay, we only games and all. Or paint and all this, they're teaching nothing else other than that. Okay, so we thought of leveraging that desktops. Okay, that's what the desktop initiated that time. Okay, in between. Okay, like this is almost like 2 years of development of mobile app. Then we started the desktop app concept.
Only 3 years back, desktop.
Okay, recently desktop started. Then almost stabilizing itself took almost a year, so that different desktop machines having different configurations, setting up, because it's a very old desktop which is ages thing. Windows 7, Windows 7 that too, not even Windows 8
Yeah,
that
Windows
time.
7.
Windows 7 desktops. Okay. Then how to get the crash logs and all. That's what he was like to explain about telemetries and all. He will go to explain. How can we make sure the logs comes to us so that we know what are the problems in the desktops also, so that we can resolve those problems. Otherwise, we can't go to each and every school to see what is the problem, right? Mobiles, at least we can, online comes, we can do it. How can we get the desktop problems? That's what telemetry helped me a lot to know what are the desktop problems. And then we started fixing those desktop problems as well by looking into logs. That's how the desktop came into picture of
It's really
Sunbird.
evolved into a revolution in that over time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks, Vinu, for giving us detailed background on how it came into a Sunbird platform and how we started. Okay, so with respect to until this point, do we have any questions? Yeah. Okay. So now, similar for the web, what we have developer tools here, so we can see what is the, just give me a minute. So what is the exceptions, or you can go to a file, put a breakpoint, and see what is the network calls is going, and you can play as we do it in the web. We can do it here also. Now let me try going online and see if telemetry is getting triggered. Okay, I'm not sure what is the configuration, what is the limit of configuration for the desktop app. I'm not sure, because until we get some certain amount of events captured in the system, API call will not be called. Okay, so that's something threshold. I'm not aware of that. For desktop, desktop staging.
10 or 20. Just type it.
Okay.
Try it.
Okay, let me go online.
Yeah, and then trigger it.
No, it's automatic sync should happen. No,
Auto sync.
I'll generate
If
a
you
template
have
image.
limited,
limited,
if you have crossed the limit, auto sync will happen. Otherwise, auto sync may not trigger because you have not completed it.
So it is like continuously checking.
It's a packet,
the
actually.
timeout or something on the JS, like you just like without it. Again, there is a
So the moment I went online, so there is one API that is called as notifications, any notification to the user. Okay, I did not do any activity on the page. I was looking at the network. So when I went online, we could see there's an network call saying that get the learner notification V1 feed. I mean, basically the notifications API are getting called. Meanwhile, if you are offline and you have got some notification, it will be delivered once you coming online. Okay, I think telemeter is not triggered. I can we manually trigger it, right?
You can trigger it, but
There's a sync telemeter. Yeah.
if you have limited, if you have crossed the limit, right, it will automatically trigger.
Okay, hold on. How exactly are you getting this developer tools along in the desktop app?
Because it is JS, it internally loads. It's a browserless thing. Sorry, headless browser. Actually,
Desktop is nothing but a headless
browser.
Okay, this still uses the browser capability.
Actually, I put it on a full screen. So if you see that, so this is the app and this is the developer tools. So I made it a full screen.
Within the app.
Within the app.
Okay.
Electron JS which uses a headless browser. That's why it
I think in my machine, I think automate always on.
Off you did.
So apologies, but somewhere, sometime when I was debugging or developing, I put it into off mode. I am sorry. Okay.
machine ki telemetry sync should not happen.
So.
Keep it as always.
You can sync.
I think because if this thing it has gone to that side, you can see that it is always on. When you are always on, whenever you are online, it will sync it. If you make it off, manually you have to go and trigger the sync.
So
You
now
can
I've
limit
triggered
how
the
many times
sync.
you can,
Now I've triggered the sync and the API is successful. So whatever the activity, info.
No, I think it is just a.
No, it is last sync is done, I guess.
It will not be the this thing.
Packet, I think it's a packet file upload. Is it? Oh, it should be there actually.
Can you just open that this thing?
So the electron is actually running something locally, some kind of server. There is a localhost URL there.
Yeah, it internally runs on 9000 port and then it will call that. Because he is running it from his own machine, right? It has trying out and going to its own system and then it is going to the upstream.
Okay.
Upstream, don't confuse as a core backend service. It's calling the staging server. What I'm pointing to. Okay.
Sync is actually it is not going to show you all the telemetry here.
That's why I mean, it's long time I've been touching this part, so the behavioral is same, but I think there's a change in the contract, API contract.
If you are online and keep on clicking, when you reach a packet, telemetry
Yes.
will go off.
Okay. So this is something on the online and offline, how we are toggling the UI, the telemetry. Okay. So anything on this?
Interesting stuff.
Okay. And you can go through the documentation and it explains how you want to debug, with a different port. It explains you the all this stuff, right? So anything else? Rajiv, I'm done with the desktop app. That's yeah. So you have questions? Oh yeah, open to questions. Yeah, please.
Questions, yeah.
Yeah, actually, like,
Yeah, so like I had like a few months ago I had opened up a discussion forum for this. So like I'm currently using 5.2.0 branch for installing
5.2.0.
yeah,
Okay.
for installing this desktop app.
Okay.
So like I'm not getting the translations. I mentioned this on day one, I think.
I remember that.
Even his this thing, if you see.
Okay, let me present it once. Let me present it once again.
Okay.
The third tab of
Yeah,
the
I saw that. I saw that. Yeah.
translation was not there.
Okay.
You have to re-trigger it, that's all. It will be the same JSON file which will be pushed into your.
It is there in the bundle actually. That
It is there in the bundle.
but I don't know.
List, do you have it? You are seeing it?
Uh,
The artist folder is using the folder is the artist folder, right?
Mhm.
You have to check within the artist folder all the your language which is present.
Just give me a minute.
Let me check it.
You can connect it.
yeah, sure.
Anything else? We will come back to the.
Debugging, we can take it
debugging,
separately.
yeah.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
we have time till break for lunch. So we will,
If there is any
because he
questions?
connects it, we will keep on.
So,
taking that.
you had all the labels breaking or only particular labels?
Almost all of the UI labels are not.
Then it is labels were not available in the package itself. So go and check in the package.
So that this entire JSONs, okay, this is portal backend is responsible for converting these property files into JSON. Okay, yeah. Go ahead. Tell me.
Yeah, but those JSONs are available here, right?
Mhm.
In the desktop app.
But it has to be available from the upstream and come to us, right? Desktop doesn't have its own JSONs. It is actually a resource bundle form API which will get us the data from the blob. Is it there in the blob is the question.
Yeah, it is there in the block. I just have it is there.
Okay. We may have to check that one.
Yeah. Any questions? We will come back on that.
Yeah.
We'll
We
discuss
can
on.
have a separate session if you want. We will have a look on your machine.
Yeah.
Any questions from this table?
Desktop
From us actually working on
production issues are
desktop.
very,
Huh?
No one from us is actually working on desktop.
You work on web, right? Portal.
Portal and mobile.
Yeah. Then obviously you should know this because your code base is getting used on the desktop.
Did you presented that Postman collection of the
No
form?
questions is smart.
If this is
Or,
similar to portal,
Yeah.
that tab
What is
on top,
O, what
the
is M,
question
and
sets.
Okay, just let me close this.
Mobile app having just
Yes.
Mobile app form. I think mobile app
Yeah.
form published it.
Postal is showing
No, I was facing some issue while publishing one of the collection. I don't know which
Yeah,
one.
the similar issue also the other friend is asking.
It's in the GitHub
No,
repo?
it's
Okay,
because
you can- there
we
is
have that
report on
properties
GitHub
file
repo.
key name, but the translation is not, the resource service is not, entertaining that value to be translated. So it happens this label is coming to us, the resource service has the configuration of what is this key and what is the value in the JSON. Now that JSON value will be returned to translation. See, if you look at this is framelints.label.textbooks. That's how the string will be constructed, but it is translated, that is transposed into an actual value. The question set is breaking, but we have to check what is the form config, all this stuff we have to check. Because again, coming back, this is also loaded with the form config. In the form config, if we have misspelled, like sometimes we write FRM, L, M and TS. E is missing.
My next question is because since the code and everything is same for portal and this, that should have been.
But the menu for, configuration for the web and the desktop might vary.
Okay. So
The
that
JSON will be different.
technical I am not aware. So
That's why the form config will be different for web and the portal.
Form config is same, but value can be different. Like my download is only for offline. Similarly, maybe one tab it may be available only for that particular instance when you are using it. Okay, and maybe portal it is not available. We may have to check the question set if it is available for portal or not. It's again form configuration, and this is pointing to staging, right?
Yes,
We
yes.
have
I
to-
have pretty old configuration, so
this also the session will be similar to portal for one day. Now that you are logged in, so after a day, if I come back to the desktop app,
see, yeah.
will I still be logged in or logged out?
So that's a pretty good and valid question that I've never heard that question of corner scenario. Yes. So as in the initial of the session, I told like all the calls what we are doing does not come to portal backend. Now whatever we discussed yesterday is applicable when we are doing it locally. The same scenario is now we are pointing it to staging server. Whatever the configuration is on staging server, if the staging server says that, I'm just talking about what I'm pointing it now. In the staging server, if I've said anonymous user can access the system for 6 hours and logged in user has a 7 days of TTL, that will implicable here.
Okay.
Because my session is getting created for the staging server. Whatever the session, whatever the auth tokens and all the TTLs is returned to me is configured by the staging server, not my local machine. Pretty good on that, because that's why I told initially it is not coming to portal backend. We don't have any session concepts in desktop app. All this yesterday, whatever we thought about the workflow, the 3 steps and the session creation, admin utils, all this happens on the server. The server behavior is replicated to us. Good? Yeah. Yeah.
It's regarding again API itself, like how it communicates.
Okay.
Let's say like the first time there is no internet in the system and the
Okay.
app gets loaded, right? So the as you saw before, the home bar, the search, everything gets the data, like what filters has to be applied from the APIs, from APIs. Now there is initial loading itself. If the internet is not available, will it behave same? Like
Okay, so this is also a valid question. Okay, let's assume you have started an application and there is a caching mechanism when we talk about offline or an app. Web, we don't cache anything. Now, we do some leverage the local storage, session storage, but not extensively in terms of desktop app, or we use it in mobile app, right? So, mobile or the desktop, if you consider, we do cache some of the configurations, and we have a set of what do you say, the TTL. Okay. Let's say I have downloaded this form configuration list form. Okay, I have it residing in my cache. After 6 hours, I'll go and refresh, check with the server, is there any new configuration for me that I can look into it, or just I retain with it. So it's nothing but we keep updating the cache.
but in this case, let's say the desktop itself doesn't have access to the internet. What you'll do with that
how do we,
case?
I mean, got it. The first time application, first time installation, okay.
Yeah.
No
Okay.
internet at all. I got a exe. Okay, that installed it.
Okay.
Then what happened? Without internet, can I?
Okay, so I may not dive into a pinpoint solution, but as far as I remember, what we had done is we had some sample contents, okay, which were put inside the folder, like what do you call in technically it is a mock data or sample data, sample do-IDs data where we were put in eCar folders under the desktop itself. I can show it to you.
I'm asking not about the content, but the layout.
I'll tell you.
The layout also was a thing which is by default was given in the application itself.
Application, what are
Okay,
basic
okay.
configuration required to run the UI properly? Okay, everything is part of the build.
But
So,
yeah, only part of the build. But if you are online, right, it will fetch from the online.
Correct.
If you are offline, it will not go to offline. Sorry, it will not go to internet, but get it from our local setup itself, local availability itself.
Yes.
But when you go offline, yes, it will. When you go online, it will try to download and update it.
Yeah. So online is simple to
Yeah.
call the APIs.
Correct.
If it is offline, see, because you said the framework is extensible, the collection is extensible.
See, base frameworks are given, not the exclusive frameworks. Which is there are 5 downloaded items which are given to you as a exe. In the exe
Okay.
only.
Okay.
So those 5 only will be available for you. You cannot do
Got
anything
it.
after that.
So there is some pre-configuration done on the desktop itself. Okay.
So, if you look at this DB folder, not the DB interface manager, SDK tools, I think it is cleaned up in 6.0.
There is a DB in there. It should be there in the DB. Open DB.
Yeah. So if you see here, there are contents, right?
Okay.
Open the plugin and data. You see the channels,
Channels,
FAQs, forms, frameworks, location, organization, resource bundles.
These are all basic which is already
So-
kept it with this thing.
Okay.
So it's got compiled with the desktop
It will be
itself.
got compiled in the exe also.
Yeah.
And it will come to you as defaults.
Got it.
Okay, if you open, I think if you open channels, right? There are some channels like Xstep or some channels which is, and example channels. It is not. It may not be genuine channels which are available.
So if it syncs up with the internet, it will get the
It will
original
get
one.
all the channels which are available for you.
And it will store it back in the cache.
Caches.
Caches.
Okay.
And
This is, see, this is an FS file system.
right.
This is a physical file which is embedded within your application. But when you go online and you do actual connected to the host, that is staging server or pre-prod or pro or whatever it is, the data which we are getting, which the actual data, real data, we will be caching it. Now that caching, you have to please go into look into it. Okay. So the more the sample data and my friend Swayanjit will talk more about the eCar because they have extensively touching that module now and then with the eCar. Okay.
So can you just open that resource bundle?
No, that's fine. This is a sample data, so you can go and check it. Have it. It is
that one which will be having the translations and all. Okay. So by default, whatever is not there from the internet.
So that is the place, and what type of data is there, you can just go to each folder and explore more on that. Okay. So any other questions?
What's e-car? It sounds like an electric car.
No. He'll explain that.
Explain.
He'll explain it post lunch. Okay. When he takes the thing, what is e-car, how it came into picture, maybe history you are going to tell.
History, no, I will just explain basically how it is being consumed in app or desktop.
So you know jar, Java archive.
Okay.
Don't break the suspense, no.
Electric car.
You told that Swayanjit will explain, and you are taking the piece of cake, right? That's not fair enough.
I'm extremely sorry, guys.
Anything else? Questions like yes, yeah.
So, if we are creating online
Mhm.
content, so that is automatically come in like when we go offline or desktop app.
No.
So, for that,
So you are creating a content, right? You are saying.
online, all the things, whatever.
Can we have a mic?
What content book, all the things available in our web. So that is a part of like automatically in offline our app.
Yeah, the discoverability of the contents what you see in web, okay, is also available in the desktop online mode. Online mode, okay.
So desktop offline, like desktop is offline.
Now you have a desktop, whether you're online or offline.
Offline.
Offline, then you have access to the contents which you have downloaded already.
Download it only.
Okay.
Maybe in the internet it is there, but you have not
No,
downloaded it.
don't go to online. You are offline.
Yeah, offline.
You will have the contents visibility. You will have the capability to play the content. Only the contents you have downloaded, or if any of your friends or colleagues gives you the contents through pen drive, you can load the content into your app.
Okay.
This is the boundary of offline app.
Give a Netflix example or YouTube example. Okay, YouTube.
Only the content.
Right? I hope I have answered the question. Yeah.
And we can see the
Mic,
desktop
please.
folder.
Yeah.
Desktop folder. So it has only logic, I think. The UI which we have. That
Exactly.
is client, only
So if you see in the modules, okay. Yeah, in the
Helper,
modules, if you see there is a controller, helpers, and limited routes. Okay, that's just we are proxying to the directly upstream. We are not, the portal backend is not there in the picture. So now I need to log in or search for a content. I need to do an API call. Where should I go? It's directly calling in upstream.
So only logic we are using. UI is the same for.
Yes. So it's bifurcated like this, online and offline. So normally you can think like, as Vindu was mentioning, if you are using an OTT platform and you have downloaded some of the videos when you want to travel and you don't have a net connection, will you be able to search movies in your or any content in your OTT platform? No. Other than the download, you do not have it. Same thing is here. There we have series and movies. Here we have a content.
Contents.
I'll
Recap what is covered as per agenda today.
Okay. So quick recap. Whatever was discussed as per agenda, as per the plan, what we have covered on day 3, first session. Second session, my friend will be taking up. So first we saw Sunbird explained to the framework by Rajesh. and discussing on the Git repository and npm plugin. As per the basics like how do we install, setup, and what is the folder structure, and installation and initialization of npm package at the consumer, the portal, how it is as an npm plugin, how we are initiating with the essential framework, right? And the form services, different routes, like we saw read, update, create, and list, where the routes are defined and how they are declined. Structure of the form configuration, we saw some schema related, and what is the data type and how you structured action, subtype, and data type. Walkthrough on code and the schemas. Discussion on the request validators. We saw the validators. There was a plugin which I think the JOI plugin, which is responsible for validating your base object against the schema. What you have mentioned. Okay, there's a plugin. Connect ಆಯ್ತಾ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Sorry, there's some technical thing. Okay, so and the other part, SP dashlets, that is reports on the consumption side. How when the reports are generated, how we are consuming matlab like how are we viewing the reports generated in the portal. So using the SB dashlet npm package, we saw how the graphs are getting rendered and the tables and the dashboards for that, right? And accessing the we saw how to access the reports from the portal. So I mean there was not much data, but we were able to traverse and see how the reports are getting rendered. Yeah. And desktop application, we saw how to set up, how to run it locally, detailed code walkthrough, and we saw how we can debug and online and offline features, and setting up how the code from the portal dist folder it's getting taken up by the Electron. So these are the things. So as per the plan, I think the spillover SB dashlet from the day one, which is covered today. So we have, I think, with the end of the ed portal consumption side, we are
Only the portal desktop and all.
Portal backend, portal desktop. Yeah. I think we are bringing the curtain down from our side.
And we are still there with the mobile this thing. And tomorrow co-create, right? Tomorrow we have co-create also. It will be continuing, but yeah, we are more or less done.
Is also done in this session or?
CQ, I think they were taking something, right? I don't know. Vinu, where is CQ going now? CQ is going now. Yeah.
Before we wind up for the
One ನಿಮಿಷ sir. ನಿಮಿಷ. Sorry. You have any QR code for this, or we'll take it up at the end of the day? How? So, any questions for the today's session, or you have any carry forward questions from day 1, day 2? That's fine. We are open to now. I mean, it's 1:10, but yeah, we can have 5 minutes more extended. You good? Okay. Thank you so much. Giving it to Vinu now. Yeah, you want to discuss? Yeah, take. Yeah. Ilapa.
as part of agenda, okay, we want to start off covering content libraries today, like Sunbird portal is covered today, and the front-end library is also covered. And apps, okay, what we covered today is the desktop app application.
ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ ನಾನೇ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ.
This, what we missed is, as part of front-end library, we explained few of the libraries, okay, which is how the Sunbird Ed is integrated in those libraries. We didn't go to the details of what each and every library does and all, okay. Of course, even if it is a UI things. There is a ask, okay, that we have to touch up couple of libraries, which is editors and players, so that you guys can do some changes on the top of that. Okay, especially the players are the key thing to consume it, and the editors are the key thing to create. Yesterday we explained about, as part of this other building blocks section, okay, editors and players. Yesterday he touched up all this, how it's been integrated, what are different kind of editors, what are different kind of players and all. We thought of going through one other player so that the concept is still the same on other players, okay. And that's the one thing what we are planning to cover today along with mobile app. Before we go to mobile app, we'll cover that thing, at least the player part, okay. Then we'll go for the mobile, okay. So there is a delay for the mobile apps, okay. So just quickly, before we go for lunch, okay, I just want to touch up on the very high level on the player things, so that we'll see if there are any questions, we'll go in detail of the players. Otherwise, we will be okay with the one of the player, just like one of the library, with nothing much. PDF player will go it quickly, okay. So that's what, like I was just hijacking the lunch time, okay, to cover up those sessions, so that we can go more about mobile, because mobile is a key thing, okay. I don't want to hijack the mobile time, okay, because there are a lot of things to discuss on the mobile things there, okay. So always, like I am showing you everything in the microsite, all these things, okay. So you can see under the contribute section in the microsite, okay, there is source code. Under that we have all the documentation what we just now explained about the portal and desktop, okay. The complete thing is covered under the portal, the component diagram and everything, okay. So the source code, how the backend layer works, and what are libraries and everything, okay. So these are pretty much what are they covered is still the same. You can go through video recordings as well as the microsite as well to understand. Okay, let's go to the mobile, so player especially, okay. I will not touch upon V1, okay. Yesterday I was saying you many things on the V1 player, right. V1 player is capable of playing so many things, right, okay. ECML, okay, PDF, EPUB, HTML, video, as well as YouTube. But it's a very bulky, and which is built in old tech stack, which is AngularJS. And we are not going to do any more changes on the top of this now. Okay, so I don't want to touch up more about this because it's going to duplicate. Okay, so we have started breaking this into smaller players now. Okay, one of the player is a PDF player, which is already available. PDF player, separate player is available. YouTube is separate, video player is available to play video and YouTube both. These two, we have separate player. Today, we don't have a player for this yet. We don't have a separate player for this. These two type of contents played by the V1 player today. HYP, yes. These two players is played by V1 player. Okay, is again Windows 8 example yesterday. Yeah, so see, this players is AngularJS built in, but still the concept is a plugin concept what we use. The plugin is nothing but a JavaScript. It's not a pure AngularJS thing. The JavaScript plugin concept what we used. You can still go and use the JavaScript skills to make some changes in the plugin, and then publish that plugin. It works.
So you're asking to fix the code of the plugin itself.
Of the plugin, it is a JavaScript plugin. Yes, that's the only option what we have in the thing. If it is a P1, okay, because here, if it's a P1, then only go ahead. Otherwise, don't even get into that. So
One content, if it is not working, it is not
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the guy is blocked totally,
It's a P1. Okay. Then only go and take that approach.
go ahead and change that because it's a legacy code and JS. It's again pure JS. It's awesome coding styles and all. You can go through it and you can be able to understand easily. But do you want to invest that much time for one issue?
Doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Because setting up this.
But is this something that is written by you guys or it's a third party?
No, it is written by everyone. Us also.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All we can do while creating a content, we can avoid HTML or H5 tags.
So again, you have to think. Okay, wear the Diksha hat. Okay, Diksha was running almost from 3 years now. Is it a P1 now? 3 years it was not a P1. Do you want to take a P1 now in this case? On this V1 version of it?
No, what she
No.
is saying is when you are
Okay,
creating
why do you want to get into that zone now?
you want to create a H5P content.
We can pay attention towards it because we
See, the thing is, those contents were created previously, were used also previously, and were tested also till now. If it is not working now, doesn't much.
No,
it's
no.
not a breaker.
It was working. It should work now also if the content is rightly created. If the content is rightly created, still it works. You have to see how the content is created. So how other contents are playing, but why not only this content is playing now?
on here, you might have some contents which are HTML type or H5 type.
Yeah.
So that is working fine for you.
Yes. No, even Diksha also it's working.
Diksha also it will be
There are many textbooks being published with these things. Okay, there are no
This is not a player problem, this is a content problem.
content ka problem, because if it is contents are not working, the textbook which is already published with ECML and everything will fail.
You can just recreate the content.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
I was thinking that maybe the HTML or H5P content, anything, it's not working with that itself.
no, that's what. Okay. Yeah. Just find the contents. Okay, which is not.
so many in Diksha, you can Google it out. Sorry, not Google
There
it
are.
out. You can search it out with
Okay.
H5P.
I don't know about the numbers. I don't know whether you guys know the numbers. The most YouTube most of the contents, 70% of Diksha contents are YouTube. Okay. So we have 7% of PDF. 7% of the contents are PDF. 4% of the contents are video contents. Okay, which is they created the videos, the DJs and all. HTML, ECML, it comes around 2 to 3%. That's what the initial almost 1 year before. Okay, when I see the numbers, that was the numbers 1 year before. The percentage of the contents present in Diksha. So ECML, I can see 1% or 1.7% or something around ECML, and HTML is more than EPUB. That's what surprised for me also that time. EPUB, one of the major partner, one of the Diksha partner was pretty much contents was in EPUB that time. He only publishing. HYP also, one of the organization was pushing all the contents as HYP contents for Diksha. Because of that, this percentage was high that time. Not the end users creating it. Some NGOs and all, they created the contents in that formats, especially pushing. See the numbers. With that numbers, is it a P1 now? You have to really see that kind of thing. Okay, any one content failing it, you have to take a call on that. Okay, this is a V1 player. Okay, we will not go to touch up of more details about V1 players. You can still go to the microsite to understand the architecture and all. Okay, the details are already there. As I explained about plugin, different launchers, different kind of launchers was there in the same code. There's a base launcher and different kind of launcher for each and every type of contents to launch. And there's a plugin framework, concept, preview. Okay, I think it's not mentioned here. Okay, so yeah.
The players what we have in Vidyadan,
Huh.
players what we have in Diksha, is it same? I know the ingredient there is a generalized one. Is it B1 or?
Still, okay. VDN also you can create a ECML. You can still use the ECML contents to add to a textbook. The player to show the ECML is always a V1.
What I'm saying is in medium we have the generic editor, right?
Hmm.
So for e-textbook primary category we are restricting the name type in Vidyadan, saying that it can support only EPUB or PDF. But in current workspace uploads generic editor, that validation is not there.
That's a different editor altogether, which is both are different editors, not the same editors. VDN is having the package editor. There's no independent editor, which is generic editor file upload there, which is packaged as part of VDN code.
It's only for the
VDN point of view. But in the workspace, what you generic editor, what you use is a public generic editor. Okay, so that is written in AngularJS, old code. Okay. So so I didn't find the architecture of the old one. Okay, that pretty much has a plugin framework structure and all. Okay, so just ignore that. Okay, let's go to focus on V2 editor pretty much, because these are main quickly. We'll try to cover in 10 minutes. Okay, let's see. Yeah. So V2 players. Okay, the concept is still the same for all three types. What I told you: the EPUB player, PDF player, and video player. The concept is the same, the way the players are built. If you know one player, the same thing in all three players. Okay, so we'll touch up on the one player today. Okay, then we don't want to go to multiple players. Any changes required? The architecture is still the same. Go ahead and do the changes. Okay, so
is this player available in 5.1 Sunbird?
Yeah, it is there in
4.6 or something. Yeah, 4x itself, all the players came in.
It started in 4x. 5 means it is already there.
So is V2 an upgraded version of V1? Is that the
No, V1 was with
AngularJS.
and JS plugins.
or some other technology?
Now
Yes.
it is Angular 2 plus. It is Angular 2 is 4, 5. Now it is 15. There are some players which are running on Angular 15. Okay. I think the PDF player latest release, if you take it, it is working on Angular 15. Okay.
Yeah. So just to touch upon the player code, okay, the way it's structured is there is some player SDK built, okay, so that multiple players can be built by using the same SDK. Okay, it's not like one player having the same code duplicated. SDK built, so that on the top of this SDK, you build your different players of V2 versions. Okay, that's how one of the PDF player is built using this. The same thing, EPUB player also built using this. Video player also built using this. The core concept of rendering end pages, start page, menu, download, these are common capabilities for the player. This is then the SDK today. Specific to video, the video player will take care. Specific to EPUB, EPUB player will take care. That's the only code what they have to write. Okay. So, and telemetry SDK, integration of telemetry, this is again externalized. Okay, there's separate JavaScript library for this. NPM package again. That is being integrated into player to trigger events. Okay, because we don't want to do it here because events specific to player, because actions are happening within a player. That's why it's not added into SDK, especially. Now again, I don't want to touch up these things. SB styles is common, and the common consumption modules. Okay, what we to style the things and all, everything is still the same. The same. We'll go to the code level to understand what are the different style, different NPM packages being used in different players as well. Any question on this? Because you can see a start page. When the player starts, okay, there is something progress bar, loading things will come, right? That's what we call as a start page. End page, after completion, for the quiz it has to show some end page. Okay, for normal content it has to show some thank you end page. Okay, what is time spent and all. That's the end page concept. This will be a common thing for most of the things. Okay, anything specific to different players you want to show different end page, you can be configurable that thing also. Menu page in all the players you can see is still the same. Okay, you can see different options, but the menu actions handling by the player SDK. And the download, because especially V2 players and all is for the files types, like PDF is a file type, video is a file type, and EPUB is a file type, right? You need a download option so that they can download that file, they can share it. That's the use case. Okay, that's why that functionality also kept in the SDK level, player SDK level. Okay. SDK will not touch. Most of the time, SDK, no one will be touching the SDK. Okay. If you touch the SDK, it's good because it's affecting all the three players. You don't have to write the code in different three players. Okay. See how can you push the requirements into SDK rather than. Okay.
So that second block, end page component.
Yes. See, end page Once the video completes, how much time he spent on that thing.
Same thing happens for the PDF also.
Yes.
So for example, as of now, suppose say if we come on the last page and suddenly the
Replay option. Player gets stopped because this is a player, okay, PDF player and video player. Here you are playing the content actually. Once this content is completed, because this player knows what is the end of the content. After this thing, he is calling this page to show. Using SDK method, he is calling this page to show. That's how the thing. Now, player stop, there is no player stop action because you are still in the player. It's showing an end page to the user now. What is your question? Player stop means?
yeah, so basically as of now in Diksha what happens, even on maybe Kushman can correct me.
Yeah.
For example, if any user comes on the last page, so suddenly the certificate gets completed, certificates get shown. Like the user is not able to view the content which is visible on the last page.
User cannot see the content in the last page. There's no.
Last page will never have any content.
Yes. The PDF is an issue.
I think Start had created one of the I think, and he fixed that in Angular 14, but we needed that for Angular 9.
Mhm.
So we did fix that, and it's fixed on mobile actually. Okay, so I think that is suppose the progress is not computed like.
That's what, the duration or something. See, end page is showing the time. What is the total time spent by that user on the player? That's what the time will be shown here. If the, after content has been played, end page will be shown. Now there is a duration will be showing on the end page. What is the total time spent? Okay, any player, this is the one who is showing the end page. If there is an issue on that thing, maybe you have to see that. Okay, maybe that issue being, that's a different thing. Okay.
So if I ask which problem areas of V1 have been addressed in V2?
Again, okay. See now, V1, see the architecture. Okay, this is pretty simple. Okay. So what I told you, V1 player is packaged with all these different types. And the tech stack is AngularJS. And the reason of moving to new players is because it's a bulky, because of so many players attached within the same thing. It's taking time to boot up. Okay, we want to make that experience better for the end users, because most of the things will happen on the consumption, right? The users are waiting so much time to just show before it starts itself, taking time to load. Okay, that's the reason of moving to V2. This is able to play all the types of contents. The only reason of moving is tech stack is the one reason. Second one is the user experience is the second reason. Because those two reasons we move to V2. Okay, so we'll any questions on the architecture of V2? These are the different layers that is built today. Okay, on the top of V2. Okay, as I told you on the architecture diagram, SDK is common. The same common SDK being used for all three. Only thing is player code will be different for these three repos. We'll go through the one of the player, the PDF player now, the code level walkthrough. Okay. Okay, so again, I would like to show you one thing and then this one. Okay, again, sidebar, as I told you, sidebar is also common for most of the things. What options need to show and everything is a player SDK is handling it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so if you see the README document, okay, today the Diksha is using Angular 9 version because I told you guys, okay, we guys moved to Angular 9 to 11 and then 11 to 6.0 release is in 14 version today. What Diksha is using today, V9 version of the player, which is Angular 9. Entire portal of Diksha is in Angular 9 still, okay. So that's what I just pointing to this version, okay, which is 4.8. But after that, if you see the 5.5 is the latest one of that. 5.6. Yeah. they're pretty much talking about as a web component. They're not talking about Angular component. If you see the old one, they're talking more about Angular, how to use the Angular as an Angular thing. Now they're talking more about the web component. We made it as a pure front-end framework agnostic. This player is not related to Angular at all anymore. Start using as a pure TypeScript, as a JavaScript plugin, so that you can use it in Angular or you can use it in React or anything now. Yeah, electronics. Any framework you can use it. Okay, that's the intention of pushing as a web component more. And below that, okay, there is an Angular version as well. Still, we showcase us how to use it in Angular. If you are only using Angular, you want to use Angular. Okay, it's very simple to integrate into Angular instead of web. It's very easy to integrate into Angular. But still, that documentation also present there. Okay. Yeah. So now, okay, as I told you guys, and again, okay, let me take you back to this. So the thing is, this is an NPM package. Okay, all the players, whatever we have, is a Angular NPM packages. Now we are pushing as a web component NPM packages because of the JavaScript usage. Okay, two different packages. Okay, I'll show that thing as well. Let's go to the code level of how this package. Okay, now if you see here, this regular Angular library project, not Angular general UI project. The projects, if you see that, okay, that's what indicating the library project. That's the one way of notation, and also you can refer the Angular JSON file to understand that what are the projects and all. Okay, okay. So this is a one way of understanding your where is that project type application. Project type application and library. This is what you will see in any Angular projects as a library. Project type, library indicating it's not a what you can call regular Angular project where you can launch, deploy independently.
Angular project is like a single page application, or it can be a
library project application. Yeah. Okay, all these players are libraries, not your single page Angular applications. Okay, you need some page to render this thing. Okay, you have to integrate into some application always, all these players. Okay. So, and your projects, okay, always the source code exists in the project folder. Okay, and PDF player. These are main player code where for the entire library present. Okay, if you see
so yesterday we saw that when Portal is using it, even in the README it would have been there. The thing is, you need to use a tag called a SB hyphen, PDF hyphen player. Yes. Now, where is that tag? It is inside this code. Okay. If Vinu goes inside this code, he will be not in the package. Go to the this thing itself, SRC.
So the tag is created in this file.
The whole component is created here.
Component.
Okay. So this is player header. Okay. Now again, line number. If you read line number 5, it is saying player header. It is not written in this particular project. It is in the SDK actually. Okay. Similar to somewhere in the below menu.
Sidebar. Okay, we showed you like some of the things we are reading from the main SDK, right? These are things which is not written here. We are leveraging the components which is exposed by the player SDK. Okay, these guys are just using that and passing the configuration systems for that. You have to go to our interview.
So if you see the component here, right? Let's say if I don't want to use this one, I'll just go to the base, and when you go app component, yeah, here they have exposed it like this. In the app component itself, they have clearly said how to use it. It is called Sunbird PDF player. So if you try to understand this, like let's assume copy this one and search this one here. Okay. So you can see that. Okay. See, this is the whole component actually. I'll just pin it again. PDF player. Yeah, here you have
component.ts file.
So if you see the
tag, this
yeah.
thing.
This is the base tag. Okay, selector.
Okay. These are regular Angular concepts. Right? Selector is something that is what you used it. Okay. Yeah. So where are we now?
Go to the HTML. You can see the headers and all those things.
Yeah, I was showing you on the HTML. Okay. So if you see here, okay, the pretty much all the player start page, because coming from the again SDK, and then sidebar is coming from the SDK, okay, which is complete sidebar, okay, and then end page is coming from SDK, right? Okay, we are just leveraging all the SDK components here by passing the what are the details required for that end page to show or start page to show. We are just passing from this player to that. Okay, the pages is not maintained here. The pages is SDK pages. Okay, you can see what is the data that we are passing to that.
Do you have any session for Sunbird SDK also?
No sessions. It's player, because players is responsible for the sessions to start, sessions to end.
So on the mobile side also everything ends up in that SDK.
No. What she's asking is, do we have a session?
Session for
Training session.
We can show it here itself. We don't have again.
player SDK point of view. Okay, we can go through that. Okay.
Again one more Angular library. Okay, I'll open it side by side so that you guys can have a look on that also.
See, SDK, anyhow, is a proven. I don't want you guys to really get into that SDK level. Okay, even this NPM package is also proven. Okay, you just need to consume based on your requirement. You have to do between on the players especially. Okay, rather than getting into SDK, focus on more on the player applications.
These players actually connect with, correlate with SDK, and then SDK, come up with the whole application, right? This is the how it is. I mean, what is the role of SDK?
SDK is a core concepts, okay, which will be common across multiple players. Okay.
Put it in SDK.
SDK.
That is my
Huh.
So these players are working with firstly with SDK. I mean, it is
SDK is an
inside.
input for your player.
Yes.
Okay, you have a project. If you search for the package.json of a player, dependency is SDK. Okay. Again, Sunbird SDK is again one more Angular library. So now you are taking one more library into this and this one to your player.
Okay.
Sorry, Sunbird.
Don't go SDK word, okay? That's again separate Angular library. You keep in simple terminology. That is giving some functionality. You are reusing those functionality in this project.
Please have a look here.
Okay.
This is your SDK, components, headers, next navigation, previous navigation. Like this, you can go through it. Like let's say.
What's that? Whose karma is that?
No, karma is.
I think, once again, okay.
Let them answer.
Anybody can answer karma.
It's a testing framework for Angular actually. Jasmine and Karma are two things. And Just also, now it's also improving. So if you see, this is what is your, if you take the header component, right? SB player header. This is what we were using there. All the logic is written here. And the HTML for that is also written here. And everyone will be using it. All the players will be using the same thing. That's what I, in the diagram that Vinod showed, he explained all those.
Navigation to next page and everything. Okay. Okay. We'll go to PDF player. Okay, understand better rather than going into that.
We can navigate and we can explore which component is doing what functionality on the web. So there are a bit more pieces on that. So we can't explain the individual component.
We need to go to, that's what, SDK level, don't go to that. Okay. You understand how it's been used.
One is common service.
So whenever we want to go deep down into certain things like Sunbird player or forms or certain, we need to go to the library first, check there, and that is connected with the SDK and communicating through
Portal, as I said earlier in the last session, a portal or mobile, we are just using common essence like common
correct.
SDK.
Yeah.
Just putting into one architecture according to the tech stack. For Angular, I need to design it like way.
Yeah.
For mobile, okay, I need to put it in this way. Things works on the same.
if any issues is there, web and mobile will also have the issue because it is the same NPM package.
You're consuming it differently.
Actually, the more work we do on the packages itself, not on the portal. Okay.
So this is what I was just explaining, the key thing. Okay, the PDF player is a library. Okay, again regular Angular project because I don't want to get into the regular Angular file structure and everything. Okay, so we just saw the module. Okay, the tag, how that SB PDF hyphen player tag being exposed over module, and HTML is a regular HTML of the player. Okay, and the TS will go to that. Okay, if you see for the header for the PDF player, you have mainly the page number. Okay, if you see the entire PDF player when you consume it, the page, which page you are in. Okay, how to navigate the next page, previous page. Those are options what header is giving you on highlighted. Okay, you just need to pass that thing as an inputs. Okay, what are the page you are in and all as an input to the header. Header will just show those things. Header doesn't know by default anything. You are passing the data to the header to show what are components. Similarly, it's the same thing for menu also. What options need to show within the menu. Okay. So and then menu bar events. Okay, especially when you click on menu, what that item being clicked, because player doesn't know, SDK doesn't know, that you have to handle it in the individual players. It's giving you what item being clicked. Now you handle it whatever you want to do on your end. That's what the events exposed by the regular Angular concept. There's nothing fancy to learn more about all this thing. Okay, maybe specific to PDF, we'll be doing something. Specific to video, we'll be doing something on these events. Okay. So again, the PDF sidebar is again menu configuration. You are passing to the sidebar because menu is the required sidebar. Right? What options need to show within that menu is a configuration again. That's what this config object will be giving us a configuration to that. For the video player, you want to show different options. For the video player, you want to show different options. What options need to show? You are passing as a configuration, it shows. On click, it's giving you event back to you. You do whatever you want to do on your end. Your SDK is not doing anything on the menu side. Okay. Again, the end page, again it's coming from the SDK. Again, a lot of things are configurations. Again, content name. End page need to show content name. You are passing as an input to that. Okay. And then what is the next content to be shown in the end page? You're passing to as an input because you're in the. Have you guys seen the end page? You can see what is next content and previous content in the end page also. So in the TOC, like in the textbook, when you're opening one player, okay, one of the content. What is the next content in that TOC also? You can see that's your SDK doesn't know. Okay, you have to pass. Each player has to pass the input to the SDK so that it will show that content. On click, again, it will give the event back to you. You navigate to whatever you want to do it. Okay. So that's what even replay content, again giving the event back to you. You do whatever you want to do. On click of play next content, it's giving you an event and you do action. How to navigate to the next content and all. That's your problem. That's not the SDK telemetry, player SDK cup of things. It's taking a lot of data as an input. On clicking of that, it's giving back to a control to you. You guys do whatever you want to do. Okay. This all makes just a code reusability. There's nothing much. Okay. End page is common for all the players. You pass the data what you need to show, and you will get a control back what to do be done. On that. The key thing is this: what you have to understand from the PDF player. Okay. So this is a key thing which is plays the how the PDF is rendering and how the navigation happening within the PDF. Okay. So that is the logic what you can see in the your component now. Okay, so there is some services and that's what your component starts doing that logics. Okay, for the PDF, when you click on next, what happens? Okay, how to load the PDF and render the PDF and all starts from here. Okay, this logic will be different for video. This logic will be different for PDF. This logic will be different for EPUB because video rendered by video.js library, how to use a video.js library and all that logic will be there in the video component. PDF is used by PDF.js library. Okay. All these libraries again, packaged JSON file you can easily find. I'm telling it that I know because I know that libraries. Okay. So now you want to go, any questions here? Okay. Before we go to the PDF library point of view, any questions here? The very high level. Okay. This is a very high level I touch. It's a common structure in all the places, all the players. Okay. Okay. think I forgot to inform only one thing. Player config. Okay. So now any component who is using it. Okay. Okay. Any player that you use. Okay. Player doesn't know what is that content. Player is playing the content. All the players have the logic of playing the content. It doesn't know what is that content information. Mobile guys passing as a configuration to the player. What is the content metadata? From where to load, and everything is a data passing as an input to the player. Okay, like that's the same again. It's the same concept for all the players. The portal is also passing the same configuration. What is the from where I have to load that file? Also part of metadata. Everything coming as a metadata. There is a context and all. Maybe as part of mobile, he will explain more about context and all. What is the context and what the metadata is passing to the player and all. We'll cover there. Okay, I don't want to touch up more about that. Try to understand the very high level concept of how it's been structured. Okay, so player config. That's what I will just explain to you. The lot of things based on the player config. Okay, that's what initialization itself. It will take the player config what to do, because that's a lot of data, input data is coming from the player config. So if you see here, player config.next content. What is next content also coming in the player config? The player doesn't know what is it, right? Okay, because TOC is outside the player. That guy is passing all this data as part of configuration to this. Okay. So PDF config. This is a key thing what you have to understand. View service.default config and player config.config. Okay. The PDF config is specific to PDF player now. This config, if you see within this player only this config. For the video, it calls the video config. For EPUB, it is called the EPUB config. Within that player, that changes will happen. Okay. PDF player service.initialize, video service.initialize, view service. These are the two methods which is meant for PDF player to render. Your entire player config passing to this. These two guys will take care of rendering of the PDF. These lines of change will happening in all the players. For the video, there will be different service which is take care of the video to do it. For the EPUB, it will be different service to do that. These are changes what you can see in most of the different players. This will be a common. Most of the players you can see the same reading of the code, because configuration coming in, what to do, it will be common. These things will be changed. When you build a new player, you can also copy the same, almost same. This logic what you have to write for HTML player, how to render HTML. That's what you have to take care of it. Okay, this logic will be, you should change. That's pretty much. Now let's go to this logic. What is this player service and viewer service? Again, Angular concepts, viewer service, and PDF. If you understand the PDF, how many of you know PDF.js library? PDF.js library. Okay, not the PDF player. PDF.js library, which is a popular NPM package. Okay, which is rendering the PDFs. Okay, it has a lot of capability within it. Okay, to navigate to next, showing the book like the page numbers and everything is handled by the PDF.js library itself. We are just leveraging that capabilities here. No logic that we are writing separately. We are just integrated that PDF.js library. Okay, and then what are the changes required for that? We are just passing to that. That's what is service, entire thing. What you can do. Okay, zoom in and all. Okay, if you see, again, viewer.js is our own class, which is giving the functionality, and then which is doing a top of the PDF.js. Let me just show you that. I think it's all the logic is in the player service. So
This is different PDF player and PDF viewer. Two different.
the viewer service and the PDF player service. There are two services, right? Which are the two code, right? Two lines of code. One is a PDF service dot initialize, PDF viewer dot initialize. Okay. PDF service, PDF viewer is just a header component which is taking care of the navigations. PDF service which is to render the PDF. This is what the entire PDF viewer dot component dot ts file, which is exposed as a PDF viewer component. Okay. So here is a what the path, which is you can see here. Okay, again PDF application thing. Okay, which is again taking from iframe. Okay, and then a lot of things will happen in the PDF.js. Okay, so this is the PDF library, what we are using it. Okay, if you see this particular thing. Okay, we are okay, so this is what the PDF.js library method that we are using it, and we are doing lot of actions on the top of the viewer app itself. Okay, like zooming and everything. Okay, we are doing lot of things on the viewer app. Okay, now that's what we are using it. What is the scale factor that should happen on the viewer app? Okay, again, these are zoom in, zoom out functionality, and what are the page number, event bus. Okay, these are all coming from the PDF.js library methods. We are just leveraging that methods here. Okay, the same approach will happen in the different videos is a different approach because you are using the video.js library there. Because of video.js, whatever method it gives, you will be using those methods. Same thing for the PDF, EPUB also. Okay, these are only lines of code what you want to understand about the PDF, PDF.js, how we are leveraging the PDF.js capability within the PDF player. Okay, the zoom in capability we didn't build. The PDF.js library having that, we are just using the same methods. We are passing that what is a scale factor due to be given to that. Okay, so that's pretty much on this because everything is a configurable and it's giving the events back to the PDF. Player SDK is giving the events back to the players, and players is doing actions on that thing. Okay, so pretty much you can see different regular Angular functions implementations. You just go through this. It's very straightforward. If you see, there are no many services components. It's just a one service and one component itself for the entire player to work. Okay, like a portal, we have so many things, but here there is nothing like that. Any questions here? You want to know? Telemetry SDK, again, if you know the portal telemetry SDK, same approach here also. Telemetry start, telemetry end, telemetry interact, each and every click. We are using same SDK, telemetry SDK library, calling the same methods here. Okay, each and that's the key thing here. Okay, especially telemetry SDK start, telemetry SDK end is a key thing to know what happened within that session when the user is consuming it, how much time he spent. Start and end event time will give the duration of the time he consumed it. And whether he completed content or not, they will analyze. Start is happened, but end is not happened. That means the user has dropped in between. How many pages he visited? Each and every page is an interact event will be triggered. They know how many pages they visited. Okay, that's a common for all the players again. There's no different logics. Okay, this is telemetry event logics that we have to trigger, click events. Anything on this? Any questions? Any changes? Pretty much you have to go and touch up here. Okay, there's nothing much anywhere else. Okay, with the PDF players point of view, all the players are the same. Okay, you go and enhance the change, push it back as a contribute. For your temporary kind of thing, you can deploy from your fork, deploy it for Diksha, get it up and running, contribute the same code back if it's a core feature required for the player, so that the PRs will be merged in the next release. You can use the same version of whatever you're publishing it here. That's how the development should go. Good? So players pretty much, I don't want to go to other place. Okay, it's still the same. Okay, like everything is the same. If you understand one code, you can easily understand other codes. V1, no V1 implementation. I would suggest don't make any changes there. Okay, to start V1 itself, you will struggle a lot today. We don't know whether V1 can be started with the local machines with the Node.js. Okay, lot of node version compatibilities and all. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we'll take up any questions in second half. Not now. Okay, we're running too late. Okay, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, yes. Yeah, it's we good for lunch. Okay, then maybe we will regroup at 2:30.